Okay, guys, welcome to the second session of Material Joining Lab. I hope you enjoyed the first session where we gave the overview of all the experiments we are going to demonstrate during this course. And the first demonstration of manual metal arc welding we had completed last week. So you must already know, those who have not attended the class online must have already seen the videos. Any questions, any doubts about last class? Those who are not uploaded the report, and we consider those who are not uploaded as an absent. Okay, just make sure that you at least look at the video and submit the report day before the next session. Right, if the report is not there, we would consider that as an absent. Okay, so we realize that there could be some difficulty in joining, but we'll have to make sure that at least you look at the video, because we put so much effort in recording, and if you don't watch the video and write report, and we consider that as an absent. Okay, good. So we'll continue with this second session. We have planned 5 sets of experiments in gas junction arc welding. Okay, so gas junction arc welding, it is one of the important welding processes we use for various fabrication, constructions, even welding process used in strategic applications. So welding of gas turbine components, for example, aerospace components. So we use gas junction arc welding extensively. So gas junction arc welding, if you look at the history and when it is produced, it is one of the first welding processes, arc welding processes, which got commercialized. Okay, during Manhattan Project. Okay, so in the early development of nuclear establishments in US, so they developed this process, and they patented in one of the national labs of US as a heliarc or argon arc. Okay, so using helium as a shielding gas, so they developed this process which used to be known as a heliarc process, and simultaneously there was another patent on argon arc. Okay, the principle is very simple. So we use a non-consumable electrode, which is made of generally tungsten alloyed with some elements, or it is doped with some rare earth oxides. Okay, so rare earth oxides like thorium oxide, zirconium oxide, yttrium oxide, and these oxides are added into the tungsten electrode to promote electron emission, but much lower temperatures by thermionic emission. Okay, so because these oxides are added to promote electron emission, because these oxides, they have very low work function. Okay, so work function is very low, so that they can emit the electrons much lower temperature. Okay, so that goes into physics, and we are not going to look at the physics of the process, because that would be covered in welding processes theory. Right, so in this class we are going to look at 5 sets of experiments where we are going to weld aluminum and stainless steel. Okay, so stainless steel plates we are going to weld in 2 modes of current, in a pulsing current and a constant current mode. Our technician will demonstrate the process, the important components of the welding setup. Okay, they would also explain the functions of each part in the experimental setup, and they would also show you how to set the parameters, the important characteristic of this welding process. For example, the contact to workplace distance, welding electrode diameter, the polarity what we are going to use. Okay, and the characteristic of the waveforms we are going to use. Say in pulsing current waveform, so the current would be pulsed with settings of IP, the peak current, okay, background current, the background time, and peak current time. So these 4 parameters we control to get the required current voltage waveforms. Okay, so and then they would also demonstrate with constant current. Okay, current being constant, how the well bead develops. Okay, so we will do 2 experiments in direct current setting, DC setting for stainless steel. So then we will move on to alternating current. Okay, aluminum welding, we prefer to use alternating current, isn't it? Right? So why do we have to use alternating current for aluminum? Anyone? Yes, Arun Sangot Velavar. What is the reason why we use alternating current for aluminum? Yes, go ahead. Yeah. It's not formation. We need to break the oxide layer, isn't it? Okay, so in order to break the oxide layer, we may have to bombard with ions. Okay, when you switch the polarity, so what happens? So from electronegative to electropositive. So then what happens when you have electropositive? Ions would reach the base material. So ions would bombard, but that would also change the arc energy, the heat input we actually give. So therefore, to maximize the heat input and to also effectively remove the oxide layer, we'll have to switch the polarity, okay, with extremely fast rating. So therefore, alternating current is preferred for aluminum to break the oxide layer and to also have an adequate penetration. Okay. Again, so these things, you can look at in my NPTEL videos, those who are not attended welding processes, or you can also refer the textbooks for this course. Good. So once we have completed stainless steel, we'll switch the current into alternating current, and we will do welding of aluminum in again 2 modes: pulsing current mode and constant average mean current mode. Okay, so the mean current will be constant in alternating current. So once we complete the welding of aluminum, we will move on to one demonstration of doing GTAW with an external filler. Okay, so we all know that GTAW is non-consumable welding process, isn't it? So we can add external filler. Okay, suppose if you are welding and slightly larger cross sections using this process, we may have to use an external filler. Okay, so our technician would also demonstrate how GTAW can also be carried out by adding external filler. Okay, so that now we can maximize the weld pool dimensions, we can add more liquid weld metal into the weld cavity for reinforcement. Okay, so these 5 demonstrations we are going to do. Now we'll just move on to the welding setup. Our technicians would continue to take care of it. Okay, good. So the live demonstration videos would be shared by our technicians and TAs. Okay, I'm going to be online, but my video will not be there. First we'll start with Mr. Jag's video. Jag, can you turn your video on? Yeah, so you not look at in big screen, maybe you can also change the layout. Okay, so layout you can change it to either stack or focus. Okay, if you make it stack, you can choose Jag's video in big screen. Are you able to see in a full screen Jag's video? Yes? Anyone? Okay. Okay. So they will be switching. Like for example, if Jag's battery is running out, okay, you can pin the camera, what is going to be shown, right? And then you can make sure that that is visible all the time. Okay. So once Jag, for example, his battery is running out, Mr. Rangan will also show his videos. but they will make an announcement that henceforth Mr. Rangan's camera will be activated. Suppose if Mr. Rangan's camera is battery is running out, maybe Prakash, other TA's camera would be online. Okay, good. With this, I will hand over the setup to hello. Yeah, to our technicians. Yeah, okay, guys. Okay, so now we are going to move on to the laboratory setup. So just to introduce all the technicians, so we have a few more. So we have Mr. Surya Kumar, Mr. Rangan, Mr. Surya, and then we have Mr. Rajesh. We have our TAs, Jag and Prakash. Okay, good.
Yeah, good afternoon everyone. So this is our TIG welding machine, DC power source, what we have here. And then this is our...
Audio is not coming.
It's not audible?
Are you connected to the meeting? You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Now you can.
So this is our TIG welding machine, DC power source. So we have the working area here. So we have the torches. This is automation torch, and one more torch we have. This is our manual TIG welding torch. Okay, I'll show you the consumables of this TIG welding torch, construction of this torch. So what I'm removing, this is the gas nozzle. This is tungsten cap. And this one is our tungsten electrode. This is collet. So this is collet holder. Okay, the collet holder has the gas nozzles here. So this torch will bring all the gases as well as the current to this area. Okay. Again, I'll refix it. I'm inserting the tungsten electrode to the collet. Then the gas nozzle. Tungsten cap. So this is what the torch setup. This similar wise, this automation torch also, it will be constructed like that. And then we have a foot pedal is here. This is a gas foot pedal. It will allow the gas through the nozzle. Today what we are going to do here, we are going to do a bead on plate on the mild steel plate. So there are two things we are going to do here. One is continuous current and another one is pulsing current. So you can see how the arc is manipulated here. Switching over to continuous to pulse current. So this is our power source. So we have to set the current. So if it is in DC position. If I turn this, it goes to the alternate current position for welding of aluminum and magnesium alloys. So generally for welding of aluminum and magnesium alloys, we have to choose alternate current. Okay. For other metals like steels or any other metals, we have to choose DC current. So here what I'm setting here, it shows the amperage. And then we have here this T1, it shows the initial purging gas. T2 is post purging gas. You know what is the purpose of initial purging and post purging? Anyone? Okay. Initial purging is nothing to protect the tungsten electrode as well as to protect our weld zone. We have to purge the gas initially. And then one more thing is post purging is to maintain the gas for some time to avoid fast cooling. Okay. For that purpose there is T1 and T2. Okay, we will go for the weld now. Yeah, yes sir. Yes. Okay sir. Okay. Yeah. The distance between the base plate, and the contact tip should be not more than 3 mm. Okay. Sorry? Yeah, it is a fixed value. If you raise the electrode more than the 3 mm, the contact will goes off, which means we'll use a high frequency for initiating the arc here. If you raise the electrode more than 3 mm, the arc will not generate here. We have to maintain a very minimum gap. Then only the ionization will happen over there. Okay, why we are using straight polarity here? Straight polarity in the sense of the electrode will be in negative terminal in TIG welding. The last week we have seen there the electrode will be on positive terminal. What is the reason why we are using a reverse, which means the electrode is in reverse polarity? The electrode is negative here. and the plate is positive. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And then you know what is the melting temperature of the tungsten electrode? Generally the tungsten will melt in 3300, above 3300 degrees Celsius. Okay. Our base metal melting temperature will around on 1300 or 1400 like that. Double the time the tungsten melting temperature is higher than our base metal melting temperature. Okay, that's why we have chosen this tungsten electrode. There are various type of tungsten electrodes are there. Generally we use for welding of these steels, we have to choose the red band tungsten. I will show you the tungsten color coding and all. So each and every tungsten has some color codings. So you can see here, this is red band tungsten. This is 2% thoriated tungsten. The green band, that is the pure tungsten. There are silver band is there, violet is there. For if you choose a violet band tungsten, you can weld for both aluminum and steel. Okay, here we are using a straight polarity. So generally from the tungsten electrode, the electrons will flow from the tungsten electrode to the positive ions, positive side. The positive ions will moves towards the tungsten side, negative side. Due to that reason, there is the due to this interchange of these electrons and ions, there is a bombarding is happening over there. Due to that, high heat is happening here. Okay. Okay. So these are the various tungstens we have here. This is white band tungsten for welding of aluminium, and then this is green and red band for welding both aluminium pure tungsten as well as thoriated. This is red band tungstens. And then we have various diameters also. Based on our welding thickness, plate thickness, we have to increase the diameter of the tungsten thicknesses.
Yes, sir.
So now we are going to see the automatic movement of the weld, automation weld. So afterwards we will use the manual welding. Manually we will feed the filler wire and then we will join the plates. Okay. Now we will see how the arc is coming, and then we will see the beam. You can focus the camera here during that. This is continuous current. You can see the arc is very stable here. There is no wandering in the arc. This is the reason for choosing the TIG welding. The arc will be very stable and then it is the very cleanest weld. Could you able to see the weld bead? Can anyone answer for this? Have you seen that weld bead? No, that is separate sheets we joined at last for manual metal arc welding. This is different. It's a bead on plate. We are not joining any two plates here. Okay, this is the just a normal plate. On top of the plate, we are traveling the arc. This is called the bead on plate. My question is, have you seen how the TIG arc is generated and how it is moved? In manual metal arc welding, the arc is not stable over there. Here the arc is very stable. Okay, now we can shift to this pulse welding. With the same plate, I'll just move a little bit away from the bead and then I'll show you the pulse current. So these are the pulsing parameters what we have here. If it is in O condition, this is off. If it is I condition, this is on condition. I'm just turning on the pulsing on condition. Here it shows the amperage and then frequency and then time. It shows the time here. Okay. So if I set 40% or 50%, so my main current value is 120 amps. If I set here 50% of this shows the peak current, this shows the main current and this shows the peak current. It will increase 50% of the, it will decrease, which means if I set my main current is 120 means it will give only half of the current here at the background, at the low inside. Okay, and then here frequency, pulsing frequency, 4 pulses per second, and how much time? The time it is here in percentage. Okay, you can see the well now. 4 pulses per second right now. Pulse ready. 2 pulses. Now we reduce the pulses. So which means it will go to the peak and the background. Yeah, tell me. Yeah, I'll answer for your question. Yeah, hello. Yeah, you can connect.
Hello students, this is Rangan. I am audible? Okay, right. So earlier you had seen a continuous current and pulse current. Okay. So in continuous current there is going to be a constant current actually. In pulse current we are going to vary the current. But there is going to be an initial current, base current will be there. On top of it, you are going to vary the building current. Okay, so that is the one. First, Mr. Rajesh had used 4% to 4 hertz. Now, the second time he changed to 2 hertz. That means the frequency of the current is changing. So what do you mean by this pulse current and continuous current? The pulse current will help you while it gives you the cooling action. That is what. So in continuous current there is your microstructure will not vary, whereas in pulse current you can vary the microstructure. That is the difference between continuous current and pulse current. Okay? Right. Please, Rajesh. Next you can switch to other.
So your question is solved? Okay, then we'll go for, yeah, tell me. No. So our set value is 120. It will not go like 0 to 120 anymore. What is our set value is 120, right? Immediately when we switch the gas on, our main current value is 120. So they can see the difference between the pulsing as well as the continuous current. You can see the ripples over the beads. This is the pulse.
Your mic.
Now it's audible to you?
Now it's audible.
You can see the difference between the pulsing and the pulsing current as well as the continuous current. You can see the difference between the bead width and then ripple of the beads, everything. Would you be able to see this? See, the back side, we are seeing the penetration on the back side. In continuous current, there is more heat is there on the back side. In pulsing, you can see the difference on the back side. There is less heat affected area on the back side. So this is the main difference. If you weld a very thin section, 1.5 mm thickness of sheet, if I choose a continuous current, the arc will come to the other side. That is called the burn through. But if you choose the pulsing cycle, it will not affect your base plate. Okay, now we'll go for aluminum section, aluminum part. We'll weld the aluminum sheets. We'll have some small break. I need to shift the torch, everything. So just wait for some 5 minutes of time. Yeah, now I have fixed the aluminum sheet here, 2 mm aluminum sheet. The same thing what we have seen in mild steel plate. Right now we are going to see in the on aluminum sheet. Same thing, bead on plate. Okay, you can see how the bead is forming here. Now the current is too high here. Correct, come. 70.
Recording, right?
Yes, sir. Okay. So this is 2 mm thickness. So our plate thickness is very small, which means only 2 mm thickness of plate, but our set amperage is 120. It is too much current. Due to that, there is collapsing is happening on the base plate. I'll show you that. You see the back side of this plate, the complete top portion of the metal is coming down. Actually, this is called the collapsing of the base plate. We have to set the minimum current for this thickness, which means 65 to 70 amps only we have to give the current. Okay. So the same plate, I'll fix one more plate. In this plate you can see the pulse current.
Also current
Yes. Yeah, you can see that it is in AC mode. If this will be in this direction, it shows the negative and positive. Okay. If you switch it in this position, this shows the AC. You can see the symbol over here. Yeah. Now you see the ampere of 80 amps, and then in pulsing cycle I have set 40% of my main current, then 2 pulses per second. The time is 60%. So in pulsing cycle, 80 amps is not sufficient. Just I am varying the current here, varying the current, and then varying the time also. Here time, what is the purpose of time is here how much time it should maintain in the peak current. So I am setting 50% it will be on the peak current, 50% it will be on the background current. Yes, you're right. Have you all observed this bead? What it has happened to this bead? So initially the bead width was narrower. Okay. Gradually it is the bead was wider. You know what is the reason? Can anyone answer for this? No, not due to increase in current. Here we have very small area. Area is very small. Okay. There is no area for conduct the heat in aluminum. You got my point? Yeah. Why initially the bead width is smaller and then gradually the bead width is increasing at the edge? Why? Because the arc reaches the end of the plate. There is no area to conduct the heat, which means there is no way to transform the heat due to that much heat is on that particular region, due to that area is get collapsed. Now you got my point? Yeah. For this reason, what they will do generally in welding of aluminium, they will reduce the current at the end of the plate. That's what they will say, that initial current and then end current. End current should be lower than our set main current, which means our main current, if it's 100 means our end value should be at nearly some 70 amps. We have to gradually reduce the current, generally in welding of aluminium. Okay, now we will see the manual weld right now. We manually will feed the filler wire, and then we will see how to add the filler wire during welding, during TIG welding. Yeah, tell me. Yeah, there is one option is there is the option called 4-step mode. 4-step mode, it will say the initial current, and then our main current, and then our end current. There are 4 type of modes are there. We can set the value at what time when we are choosing the foot pedal is there, right? If we press one, it will goes to the main current. If press it and leaving means it will comes to the main current. Again, if you press it at the end, it will show the end current value. We can manipulate during with the help of this foot pedal.
Wooden.
You want to see that? Okay, I'll show you this. You can see the current what I have set over there, it is 100 amps. Okay. Someone you can stand there itself. What I do, automatically if I release the pedal, the current will vary over there. You can see here if I reach the pedal, arc resistance goes down. Till the arc breaks, if I press 1 more, it goes to the main arc. So if I distribute, the current also will get reduced over there. Okay. Yes, not the gas flow. Gas flow is constant here. Yes.
Yes. No, the pedal is nothing but which gives you, opens the solenoid valve of gas. Okay, and then it controls the current also. So if you have to, at the end, when you are coming closing, you have to release your leg very slowly. Otherwise, you will have a big pit will be there. Yeah, at the end you had seen, no, big hole was pit was there to avoid that. Okay. Other than that, to avoid this only, we have to remove
Yes.
this road.
So technically we'll call this region as the crater fill area. It will be happen in all the wells. Why? Because this more current will be, more heat input will be at end. Due to this, we have to reduce the current, and then we'll add more filler at the time. That is the crater fill region. Yeah, automatic in auto mode it is not possible. Manually we can control that. In automation, generally they will call the run-on run-off plates. That run-on run-off plates will be chopped off. You know, right, what is run-on run-off plates? For example, this is our weld region. They will keep one more plate, a small plate. The weld starts will be on this plate only. This we will remove after our work, and then the same plate will be fixed on the run-off plate. This is called the run-off plate. The weld will stop at this plate only, not our main area, work area. You got it? Yeah, welding a pipe, that is difficult. By manually, what people will do, they will do grinding. They will gouge that area and then refill it again. That particular run-on run-off area. Yeah.
Off பண்ணிக்கலாமா?
We'll off for some time. We'll start the manual TIG welding process. So this is our manual torch. So our foot pedal is on the floor right now. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to join these two plates. Okay, so the plate is already edge prepared. This is a 3 mm thick plate. Now I'm going to join these two metals with the help of this filler. You can see how I'm initiating the arc and how I'm feeding the filler, how I'm adding the material on the substrate. So my complete filler is not sufficient to fill this area. Surya, what 10 amps kankana? So you can see the weld, this region. So here you can see that crater area is reinforced here. Why? Because in that region I just reduce the current and then keep on adding my filler here. That's why this crater region is very small here. If I'm not adding the filler here in this crater region, the crater area will be open up. For avoiding that, we have to reduce the current at that particular point, adding additional filler over that on that region. Okay. So do you have any doubt in this thing? I can show one more bead on top of this plate. You can see bead on plate without joining any two plates.
Current?
Same current. So you can see the difference. So on the top of the plate itself, simply just I'm adding the filler, like what we have seen in the manual metal arc welding. So do you have any doubts so far? Yeah, it's aluminum, yes. So I have one more set of plates for stainless steel. The same thing what I had done in aluminum, I can do it for stainless steel also. You know what is the purpose of choosing alternative current? Yes, you're right. To break the oxide layer. Okay. Generally in alternative current, the voltage cycles will be 50 and 50. Okay. That's why we have chosen this AC current for welding of aluminum and magnesium alloys. Okay. Because this oxide layer temperature will be more than 3000 degrees Celsius. So any other doubt? Okay, shall we go for the next plate? Yeah, tell me. What's your question? Yeah, we can go. That is not a problem. The direction is not a matter. See, I am a right-hand welder, so I am just moving from right to left. If some welders are left-hand welder, they used to weld from left to right. The filler material is also same. This generally for welding of aluminum, we'll use silicon filler. We'll add some little bit silicon on the filler. So it's a 4000 series, 4053 series. To adding more flow, we need to add some silicon. the flowability will be very smooth in this particular filler. So any other questions?
இல்லை இல்லைடா வேறு இருக்குது வேறு
அங்கே கட்டி வச்சுருக்கீங்க.
பேட்டரி கம்மியாக இருக்குது, சீக்கிரம் முடிச்சிடும். வேறு டெமோ காமிச்சிட்டு அப்புறம் பேசலாம்.
Had some questions about why we use aluminum welding, aluminum silicon filler, right? So welding metallurgy, we should recall. So in aluminum, the types of alloys are cast alloys and wrought alloys. Okay. So aluminum silicon 4000 series is a cast alloy, and we use aluminum silicon filler because it's an eutectic system. We choose filler composition very close to eutectic point. So what is eutectic composition in aluminum silicon system? Anyone? Come on. Eutectic composition, aluminum silicon. No? It's a 12 point. Yeah, 12.6. Yeah, 12.56. So we choose the composition of the filler close to eutectic point. So aluminum 10% silicon, aluminum 12% silicon, 4043, 4045, 4047. So these fillers we commonly use to weld aluminum alloys. Okay, so why? Because it has an excellent fluidity, like what Rajesh was saying when I just arrived. So it can flow better. Not only in terms of weld-through dimensions, and also when aluminum melt solidify, we should also make sure that the whatever hot cracks that form should also be backfilled by the unsolidified liquid. So flowability not only in terms of filling the well cavity, even the internal channel, the dendrites when it forms, when the dendritic cavity coalesces, it becomes crack. Isn't
fluidity, those cracks would also be backfilled. So silicon gives the necessary fluidity. So the weldability improves. So we can avoid cracking. Because aluminum otherwise is notorious for hard cracks. So when you weld aluminum 6000 series with matching filler, it's very difficult. You will end up getting only cracks. So that's the reason for welding aluminum we use a cast alloy filler, so which is a 4000 series. Okay, go ahead, Rajesh.
Now I'm going to weld the stainless steel thin sheets 1 mm thickness. So without adding any filler material, I can join these sheets. You can see the sheets. Okay, we have two similar sheets. Without adding the filler material itself, we can join with the help of TIG. I can show you off of the bead without filler and off of the bead with filler.
Yes, we are joining now stainless steel. Just look at the arc stability. So this is what the beauty of gas junction arc. So this is just an autogenous weld. Without the addition of filler, Rajesh has just done that. So that's what we call it autogenous. Autogenous means without any external filler. So this is stainless steel T16. So right now what we are doing is wire brushing, removing some oxides, scales.
So you can see the bead ripples.
You also see the distortion of the plate. You see these? The plate has came up. So this is due to residual stress. See that? The distortion. So you see that there is also longitudinal stress and transversal stress. So both are acting. So now what is see over here? It's an out of plate deformation, combination of both longitudinal, this direction, and transversal. So it goes to out of plane deformation. Right. So now Rajesh is going to do with the filler. Yeah, go ahead, Rajesh. So we use the stainless steel filler. It's a matching filler, right, Rajesh?
Yeah.
It's a matching filler. Yeah, after that you can change.
Extreme left. There is a lot of distortion in that.
Yeah, you can start now. Again, sorry guys, we'll have to change the battery of the GoPro. So it's working fine. Yeah. We'll continue. So this is what amazing, right? So look at the arc stability. Excellent. So we are playing around the arc. So the temperature of the arc envelope ranging 9000 Kelvin. And arc core will be about 20,000 Kelvin.
think this is not matching filler.
Matching filler.
Yeah, that's not matching.
So this is
I think something nickel based filler.
it's all right. Anyway, so this is 316 plate.
Yeah, this is a 316. Yes.
So this may be nickel based filler.
See, generally during welding the thin sheets, we have to properly use the jigs and fixtures. So here the plate is not fixed properly. All the four corners should be fixed properly, and then particularly this welding of stainless steel, we have to use the welding rule is different. For example, if we have to make a tag for all the four corners. We should not run the weld continuously. If you run the weld continuously, definitely this kind of distortion will be happen. And then mainly we have to choose the filler. If I plan to weld a 316 sheet, I have to choose the 316L filler material. Okay. So now I don't know what kind of filler it is. It is not mentioned anything. So due to that, I can't able to produce the weld properly. Like what we have did in aluminium, we are able to dip the filler very easily, and then we are able to form the weld. But here it is, why it is not happening? It's because of this filler material. And then one more reason, the plate got distorted. It should be fixed properly. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So do you have any doubt in TIG welding? Okay, if you have any doubts, you can ask Professor regarding this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm just winding up.
Okay, you can summarize, Rajesh, what you have.
Okay. Okay, so this if I could. So the machine got turned off, everything. So you have any doubt in this welding?
Go ahead, please. Give me. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Oxide layer. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the oxidation of aluminium is instantaneous process. Okay, it is not possible to remove the nascent oxide layer on aluminium surface. It would instantly form within few, not even a second, millisecond, aluminium get oxidized. So even if you polish it off, remove the oxide layer, the nascent oxide surface what we have will instantly form. So there is no question of removing that few microns of aluminum oxide. Oh, that is instantaneous oxide formation. In titanium, magnesium, aluminium, it is not possible to remove that instantaneous oxidation of aluminium, titanium, magnesium oxidation layer. It would form with no time. By the time you polish it off, while scrapping, it would instantly create the oxidation. You cannot strike an arc, isn't it? So when you have a top oxide layer, what happens is the oxide layer should be eliminated, should be removed. Okay, if you don't remove it, what happens is it's a passive insulating layer, 60 microns, right? So that would create the arc instability because the charge carrier flow between the cathode and anode is actually hindered by the presence of oxide, isn't it? So the entire process would lead to instability. You would see that instantly. So when you use electronegative or positive, base material becomes negative. So that becomes cathode, that emits electrons, isn't it? So what happens when you have an oxide surface, you tend to ignite the arc from the oxide layer, and oxide layer instantly breaks. So that would lead to arc instability, arc wandering, okay, and then spatter formation. So it all would create very worst pathetic weld. So when you use such a parameter, then you V dimensions, undercut, porosity, all would happen. Yes, Praveen? Again, so we discussed that in detail in welding. Yeah, welding processes course. I don't know whether you attended the welding process. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now that's, yeah, best if you want to do a stable welding of aluminum alloys, alternating current is preferred. Okay. And DC SP, the straight polarity, then you may have a problem. Okay, that you will have a problem of arc instability, arc wandering, arc blow. Okay, sometimes even arc blow can happen. Right? So it is not advisable to use straight. If you want to make proper conditions, if you are using a DC EN, you may have some stability, but then that has to be in very low current. Then you may have some stability. So that is not advisable. Alternating current is always better. Yes. What is next question, Praveen? Hello, wires. Oh, yeah. See, pillar wire can be okay. So the question I will repeat for recording purpose. So do we do any calibration of pillar wires? So in terms of like diameter, composition, you are referring? Yeah, of course. That is important. In GTAW, wire feed rate is important. In manual welding, it is a welder's caliber. Okay? So welders are trying to feed the wires at the rate to create an excellent weld. See, the weld what is created in the GTAW, okay, with a cold wire filler, what we call this, right? So we can also create very nice decorative welds. Like if you go to Chennai Metro, okay, enter Chennai Metro, you see a stainless steel bars to hold at the door, right? And look at the welds. So those are GTAW with cold air filler. It is actually done in free shipping in Alstom. And if you look at that, the welder created a circular weld pools, overlapping circular pool. They do a zigzag, circular pool welding. Okay, and then there, okay, it is like the welder turns it off, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off the arc, and then he inserts the filler, so that he creates very nice decorative welds using this process. So the feed rate in the manual welding, it is the welder's job. How welder controls the feed rate. The feed rate for the automatic cold wire filler, for example, the process what is here, right? We can also mechanize the wire feeder. So if you mechanize the wire feeder, the feed rate is also important. How do you achieve the feed rate? That based on the weld dimensions what you want to do. Okay. So when you look at the mycoplasma with the wire feeder in the, I think you are the 4th lesson, right? Prakash, 4th or 5th session, where we will show the wire feeding with mycoplasma. How we can set the wire feeding to change the bead dimensions. Okay, that will be clear when we look at that process. So mycoplasma, nothing but it's GTAW with arc constriction. So the arc becomes plasma. Yes, Praveen, is it clear? Yeah. Okay, any other questions for Rajesh or for technicians? So just to summarize, so we have done this mild steel, right? So mild steel in two conditions: bead on plate, pulsing current in a constant current mode, and then we have done aluminum, again the same. So this is done with direct current. So we have aluminum plates welded using alternating current in a pulsing mode and constant current mode, and then we also show some demonstration of welding using a filler. So aluminum, the alloy plates, I think it's 2000, right, series, Rajesh? Yeah, 2000 series plate are welded with 4000 series filler. Okay, it's very nice weld we have done. And then we attempted to weld stainless steel, okay, with autogenous mode, also with fillers. Okay, guys, anything else? Yeah. Yes. Oh, again, no, the electrode diameter is very important, crucial parameter. Okay, so if you have a sharper electrode, so what happens? Again, no, I already taught you in welding process, right? So, yeah. The effect will be similar. Okay, so changing electrode diameter, the arc divergence may happen. The larger electrodes, okay, so again, for the larger electrodes, if you keep the same electrode angle, the actual cross-section area would be larger. So you will have arc envelope enlargement. Okay, that would reduce the penetration. Then you got to pump up the current. So if you are pumping up the current, so what happens here? So you tend to produce wider welds, deeper penetration with a larger diameter. Okay, so that, yeah, so again, based on the material what you are going to weld, you can choose the weld diameter and the electrode angle. Generally for alternating current, you will have to use a slightly larger diameter. Why again? Because the polarity is switched. So that means that when it becomes reverse polarity, the electrode tip would also heat up. So therefore, the electrode erode much quicker, much faster. So for alternating current, we may have to use a larger diameter. Okay, so then the direct current will be used. Again, for the plasma welding also, we tend to use larger diameter for high current plasma. Because of the construction, there will be a lot of radiative and convective heat. So therefore, you use a larger diameter just to increase the current carrying capacity, and then you can also increase the electrode stability. Yeah, yeah. Any other questions? Okay, guys, I think we had a good session. I hope you enjoyed. Let's thank the technicians, Rajesh, Surya Kumar sir. Yes, Surya Kumar sir, he came out of the retirement to help us. And Rangan sir here. And then we have technician Surya Kumar. So we'll also thank our cameramen and TS, Jag and Prakash. Okay? Yeah, good guys. Shall we wind up here? We'll see next week. Thank you then. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, okay. See you then. Bye-bye guys.